Hey, welcome to Mission Sports TV, and this is the locker room. I'm Dave DeRocher, always joined by my husband brother, Tim Busy. How you doing, Tim?
Doing good, my man. How are you, brother?
Always good.
Well, man, we had Jesse Sapolu on our show, and this guy, his resume just speaks for itself. That's why we had to break it into two parts, because we were talking so long. We could talk sports all day long with him, and his success in the NFL speaks for itself. We want to talk about more his post-career, what he's doing in the community, how he's using football to really be a catalyst and a catapult for great men beyond the football field. So with that said, and we'll be back to hear more about Jesse's story and his post-career. Come back here in a sec.
All right, welcome back into the locker room. As promised, Part B with Jesse Sapolu. We're going to talk about today when a play is made. I've literally seen this, I don't know how many times. Push the teammates aside and look at me. And look at the play I just made. And I'm just amazed at the transformation of the game, getting away from the sport and what you guys, like you're saying, sacrifices for building a better thing to monetizing the name on the back of my jersey, not the emblem on the sleeve. What do you think about that?
Well, we talk about team first, the concept that it takes to win a championship. There's the reason why the Patriots are a success in today's generation, because they can cut anybody, doesn't matter who you are, if you don't follow protocol of what their belief system is. Unfortunately, they even celebrate first downs now.
Yeah.
A guy catches the ball for 7 yards and gets a first down, and he's on his knee doing the motion. It's difficult. It's difficult to see from a distance. Now, the newest thing is the whole defense runs in the end zone and celebrate when they get an interception. Now, I can live with that better because they include all 11 guys.
Mm-hmm.
But when you talk about guys that score a touchdown and their teammates come in to celebrate, they're pushing them aside so he can do his thing.
Yeah.
It sends the wrong message. To me, it sends the wrong message, because that league from the 32nd ranked team to the Super Bowl champion is not as big of a difference as people think it is. If you look at talent alone, the Cleveland Browns, to me, rank in the top 5 or 4 teams in the NFL. Their record doesn't speak for it. And the reason why is because they don't play together as a team. They need to learn to do that. We had the 49er way during our time. The 49er standard is what we used to call it. We had guys like Deion Sanders that took $1 million just to come in and try to be a champion under that umbrella. Now, it was a give and take. Deion has certain ways. Great teammate in the locker room, but when the camera goes on, he becomes prime time.
Okay.
But we had a little fun with him there, but at the same time, we didn't let him pull us in that direction. He needed to know that he came here for a reason. He wanted to be a champion, and we're going to do it the 49er standard. So those are some of the challenges now with free agency, with a lot of player movement. I think Brady's influence in Tampa Bay will be more impactful as a leader, a guy that holds people accountable compared to his talent, because he's going into his 21st season. So let's be realistic. He's not going to be the Brady of 6, 7, 8 years ago, but he's good enough physically. But I think his leadership and his ability to hold people accountable and have them live up to a standard, whatever standard that is, Tampa Bay wants to set. But to me, that's the impact that he's going to have. Now, it's going to be interesting to watch, because they're in the same division as Drew Brees. So those will be some great games.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, the Brady effect, right? He affects the entire culture, and the guys that are around those people, those winners, proven winners, they want to make sure they're living up to that standard. I'm sure you were one of the guys on the 49ers. is it the entire team organization, that culture, or is there a couple players really leading that charge that the guys, fall in line and follow?
Well, in our locker room, there's usually maybe 6, 8 guys that are leaders, and then when you have other guys that are star guys that become with the same mindset, they're not natural leaders, they're great athletes, but when they fall into that concept of holding people accountable, now you got a special team, I remember to this day, we beat Green Bay in the NFC Championship game, and Ricky Waters was telling my son, Luke happened to wear Ricky Waters' jersey, and Ricky was there that day. And he says, man, your dad used to just give me a look. And it's just that look, man. And I'm because Ricky was a high energy guy that wanted the ball, so, and sometimes, we would play on the road in the Superdome, and in those days, New Orleans had 4 Pro Bowl linebackers, and, Ricky would have 7 carries for 15 yards, and he's starting to tout in the huddle. And then we get on him, and then I would talk to him on the sideline, and I said, Rick, they have the type of defense that they might stop us, then you pop one for 50. And thank God he popped one for 70. Did I know that was going to happen? No. But that's just part of being a leader. You calm him down during that moment. And then when he popped that run, it's just a byproduct of being lucky of trying to keep him calm so he can focus on what's at hand. But when that happened, Ricky always had that trust in me, that I was the calming effect, because our other leader, Guy McIntyre, will choke your neck. I'm one that is hard on you when I have to, but I'm also more of a, kind of like what we do at midday, that comes natural of being hard by sending a message, but at the same time, nurture those kids' confidence to where it is, because those are the leaders. And they can tell you that the leaders are not usually your star players in the locker room. Those guys are in the front of the cameras more.
Right.
But the meat and foundation and of what goes on in the locker room is usually offensive linemen. Offensive linemen are the guys, because we don't care about the credit. Feels good when we get it, but we don't. That's not our number one priority. Our number one priority is making sure that the team stays together and we do our job.
And I think that's so important for the young guys to hear, high schoolers and everybody listening. I mean, you don't have to be the star player to be a leader. You can be a guy that puts his nose down, works hard in the weight room and on the field and leads by example, like you're saying. And I think every young guy needs to hear that, because in this society, like you said, with the Twitter and the Instagram, there's a lot of these guys getting this hype. You don't have to be one of those guys to really change a program and build a foundation and be a leader in that high school locker room.
No, you don't. And when you look at it, Joe Staley made $16 million a year, right? And even at that, because of his talent, but the one thing that Guy McIntyre and I and some of the old folks we talk about is Joe's talented as a player, but he was also too playful. We wanted him to cut a little bit of joking around and pull people in when he has to pull them in. Because to me, that's what gives you the edge. Because when you're down by 4 and you got to drive the ball 80 yards with 1 minute and 50 seconds left, it's not time to be playful. It's knowing that all 11 guys are invested in that moment, because that engine now, it's 11 parts. Even though Joe Montana's the driver of the bus, if the right tire is flat, that bus ain't going nowhere. Mm-hmm. So the leadership that we developed in that locker room, the standard that we used to call the 49er standard, shows up in those moments, because we were prepared for it. We all understood, oh, here it is. We put ourselves in this position. This is what we'd be prepared for. This is why we don't play around 24/7. When it's time to get serious, this is what we need to do. And it shows up in those moments.
But I want people to know what you're doing now, because it's awesome. It's taking all of this knowledge and giving it back to young men. And we love them up. But man, we're calling out too. We're like, hey, man, that's not good. And you can't just rest on what you did this last play. You got to bring it every play. Talk a little bit about how Men in the Trenches came to fruition.
Well, Men in the Trenches started with my three sons all play college football, and they're not the biggest. They can tell you that. I blame their mom's family for it, that the tallest one is, it's funny because our tallest we assumed was 6'2", which is Roman, that's coaching at Fresno State right now, until he called me and he said, Dad, Coach Riley asked me to go to pro day. I said, you ain't going to no pro day. None of you guys are big enough to go. And I was being real with my sons. I said, with your size, you got a free education. You played in the Pac-12. It's not, 6'2", supposed to be 6'2". You've gotten everything out of your body. Get your degree and we'll move on with your life. So Coach Riley sent him to the pro day anyways, and he measured in at 5'11" and a half. So that's the story. So it started with my sons, and then they started inviting friends. And then those friends went back, and kids that coaches gave up on cracked the starting lineup. They couldn't believe how much they've improved. But that's how it started, Dave. It's funny how MITT started. And then they found out, those kids said, oh yeah, we trained with my friend Luke's dad, Jesse Sapolu. He used to play there. Right away that the high school coaches knew who I was. So then they started sending their kids, and then it became an organized event. Before, they would climb over the fence to go to Orange Coast College, and then security would try to kick us off the field. We give them donuts, and then he says, okay, pretend like I wasn't here. But that's the Men in the Trenches started from very humble beginnings. And the reason why I did it is because when you look at Todd Marinovich, you looked at Carson Palmer, those guys in Orange County started specialized quarterback training, during the off season so that they can get a jump on their technique before, the season even starts. And I'm thinking, Dave, you know that as well as I do. Offensive line technique is something that's even more difficult. You can't just go to a high school and say, block this guy, block that guy. There's a step that goes into it. There's a weight shift that goes in. There's leverage that goes into it. And I felt like if quarterbacks have their specialized camp, offensive linemen deserves to have specialized camp. And then some coaches that I know that on a defensive line heard about it said, Jess, why don't you just include everybody? So we included defensive linemen, and that's how MITT started, and that's where we are right now. And the great thing about it is the relationship that they can tell you that the coaches have, because all these guys coach in some of the best high school programs, they end up playing each other in the playoffs to go to the state championship, but they're friends at MITT, and we have that relationship, because at the end of the day, you're trying to help kids in life, not so much if you're going to win the championship or a league title here, a league title there. And those kids will always know Dave as coach. He might be shopping at Stater Brothers, and then this kid walks with a beard that has two kids, and we'll call him coach. And they will have to take a double take, because these kids are grown up and have families. And to know that we have an influence on their lives, it's something that's better than almost winning any game, because you're making a difference in these young kids that were going to become men. And you had a little something to do with that success. That feels good, and that's what keeps us going.
Man, building into the youth life. And like you said, football is really just an outlet and a medium to, catapult success in not just the sports, but more so the after. I mean, you were talking about the numbers earlier. It's such a small percentage that go on to play college, and even fewer that go to play in the league. So those characteristics and that love that you show them, that tough love early on, I mean, it lasts with them for a lifetime. So that's special to hear, man.
Yeah, it is. But Dave can also tell you that the challenge is the parents right now. We're dealing with parents that, because of social media, and social media contributes to it, but these parents think their sons are going to the NFL.
Right.
And it's hard for us because that's their mentality, but we try the best that we can, and some of these kids, when they go to college, and then their Twitter following is not as much anymore, because the fans of different schools that offer them scholarships ain't on their Twitter anymore. And then when you go to the NFL, I always tell the story. They had a Heisman Trophy winner named Gino Torretta, right? So every Saturday when we travel on the road, we get to watch college games when we're at the hotels. And it's Gino Torretta, this Gino Torretta, that. 6 months later, he's warming me up as a center in training camp so I don't hurt Joe Montana and Steve Young's hands. So that's reality of life. And it's a little bit of what Dave and I have to deal with the parents, because there are some parents that think that their son is NFL bound, which they might be. But at the same time, we need to coach you when you get there, not only technique-wise, but as a person, because if you're not mentally ready for that league will swallow you up.
Right.
Well, one of the things that I really enjoy about in the grand scheme of things, and it's more important to be good humans. When we do our competitions, it's about how do you do the play. It's it's nothing extra. We don't put up with anything. Anybody getting hurt, if you knock a guy down, you reach over and you pick him up. Because too many kids see the machismo and stand over somebody, and it's not about that. You beat him, you pick him up, and you do it again.
That's all saying. Pick him up,
and then do it again. But don't stand over him and don't taunt him. And there's no room for that at your camp. And I think it's just a great message, because I don't think enough coaches teach that.
Well, we try the best that we can, Dave, in this generation. But it's funny because Lisa and London were telling me the story at Super Linemen, and Dave was refereeing a match from a team. It was a team from Seattle and a team from San Francisco. And the coach from Seattle was just unruly. I mean, it was kind of embarrassing. And, Dave's 6'7", right? Telling the guy that, kind of giving that coach a lesson on what's important, and to me, that's why we have Super Linemen. I don't care who wins my tournament, to be honest with you. I don't care. I care about kids learning how to compete and conduct themselves. Because at the end of the day, we're lucky if 2 of those kids ever smell the NFL out of the 460 that we saw that day. That's reality of the situation. But those are 460 fathers that are going to have children that we can have a little bit of an impact in. And some of the challenges that we have there is when I started MITT, it wasn't to advertise Jesse Sapolu. We know that we played in the league. I got 4 rings. It wasn't to do that. But now people have copied our program, which I don't mind, because the more you can have kids, the better. But they have done it to promote themselves and their brand. And that's what's kind of a sad situation, because they're kind of using kids in that way. But hey, all we can do is keep fighting, because if we can save one kid's life to become a better father, get their degree, contribute back. There are kids that started at MITT that come back and help us coach now. So that's a great thing. And to me, that's the most important thing.
And where it's a true indication that it's not about Jesse or MITT. It's about the kids. They're $25. I do a lot of camps. I walk in camps, and they're charging these kids $200 for a day, and they're running around, and that's just to feed their pockets. I can assure you that is not the intent. So it just speaks to the whole platform. So
it goes back to the team concept. I mean, my wife whispers to me every other week. We've been $20 12 years ago. The insurances for the fields go up. We got to order kids shirts, and you don't want the cheap shirts. You want the shirts that looks nice on the kids. She always tells me, I said, don't worry about it. And what makes it work is people like Dave and some of our coaches. We give them gas money, and they know the reason why we're there. Because if they know they deserve more, but if they demand that, then it won't work. We'd rather do our private training. But the other reason why I keep the cost the same way, guys, is because my parents couldn't afford, $30, $40. And this is $25 on top of the kids that we scholarship that come into the registration table. And because I tell my wife, don't you ever turn any kid away. Because when that kid walks away, that's me at 15, 16 years old. You can't do that. I said, we'll survive, but if kids come in and they just cannot afford the $25 for 3 hours of competition, we can eat that, because that kid might go on to become, has his bachelor's, has his master's, and come back and contribute to society way more than that $25 that we're missing that particular day. So that's important. But all part, MITT is like moving parts, and they all have to work. The coaches enjoy being there because they enjoy each other's company. Then they know that they're getting gas money, but when one of those kids play on TV, like we had a kid that plays at Oklahoma, and we all text each other. And these are coaches that go up against each other in high school. But we all text each other because we all feel good about that particular kid. That's what MITT is all about. It's because if I would have just coached my sons in high school, my reach as a 4-time Super Bowl champion will only be 2 to 10 linemen that I'll be coaching. But because of MITT, they coaches 200 kids a Saturday, and not so that all 200 kids can go to college and play ball, so that they remember Dave had a positive impact on their life. We're both in our wheelchairs running down the aisle at some supermarket, and those kids are walking with their kids. At least they'll remember us for doing something good.
Well, man, that again, just powerful how many people you're able to affect through the game of football. It's and how that extends beyond the field in life, and it just goes on to stick with them forever. You were born in Samoa. It's part of you. It's who you are. Tell us what you're doing in the Polynesian community now, and just give people some awareness to the effect that you're having specifically to your people.
Well, I've been going to Samoa since 1984, my second year in the league, to do camps, and back then Samoa had 2 Division III guys. Right? Today, straight from Samoa, American Samoa, which is a population of 60,000 people, they've had like 12 NFL guys.
Wow.
And back then, you would have to move to the States or Hawaii to go to high school to get discovered. Now, people like Urban Meyer has been to Samoa. I flew with Mike Leach from Washington State to Samoa on the same flight. They go there to look for the kids now. And we have NFL kids that play from there. So, but then at the same time, I found out because of all those camps, I've gone there with coaches like June Jones, that the very first Polynesian player to play in the NFL was 1947.
Wow. With
the Washington Redskins. Yes, way back then. And I'm thinking, we can't forget about those guys. These kids today, man, they're making, Tua just signed a 4-year, $30 million contract the other day, But you can't forget the people that knocked down that door for them to have these opportunities. So 7 years ago, June Jones challenged me, well, somebody needs to step up because these kids are not going to remember who those guys are. And at first it was a challenge because you got to have sponsors, you got to fly in the inductees, you got to set the committee to select, you got to have a criteria on how these people are going to get selected. And then I was asked, maybe at the dinner we should charge $270 a ticket. I'm Polynesian, man. $25 is a lot at MITT, Dave. So I thought it was crazy, but in the last 3-4 years, that dinner's brought in 1,200 people. It's sold out every year, because if you place an importance in it and it's a game that people respect, people will treat it that way. And then we added the national televised high school game. So the 3 games now, it used to be the Army, now it's the Adidas All-American. They have the Under Armour and the other televised national high school all-star game is the Polynesian Bowl now. Our selling point too, because we get 5-star or so-called 5-star, 4-star guys. is where do you rather go play? Do you want to go to San Antonio or do you want to go to the coconut trees you see in my background, sitting on the beach right across the street? So, and it's an easy sell, you know. And at the first 2 years we streamed it, and then kids come back and tweet about their experience, and then all of a sudden CBS called us, you know, if we were interested in signing a contract. Those were exciting times for us. But yeah, we'll build it to where it is. Unfortunate with the pandemic that it slowed some things down, because Dave can tell you our last combine at Bishop Gorman High School was about 580 kids, and we had over 650 registered to do it in March. But unfortunate, because of what we're going through as a country, we're on hold, and we're going to do that. But exciting times. And then, of course, with Tua being drafted to Miami, we got AJ Epinesa that went high to Buffalo. We have 3 Polynesian kids going the first 2 rounds, which is pretty good for us. When I played, there were 6 Polynesians in the whole league. You know, the New Orleans Saints had 4 Polynesians on their team. The Niners, we had 3, and we just lost DeForest Buckner to the Indianapolis Colts for $21 million a year. We were born way too early, man.
Hey, Jesse, it has been such a great show and time spent with you to hear about you. I think that we will put links up to the Men in the Trenches camps. Do you have a web address that you could just give a shout out to the men?
It's SapoluMenInTheTrenches.com.
Pretty simple.
Are you on social media too? Give us your handle where we can find you.
Yes, I'm on Men in the Trenches Twitter and Instagram.
Okay.
And then I also have a personal Twitter and Instagram to at Jesse Sapolu is my personal Twitter.
And we'll get those posted up there too. So if people are hearing about you for the first time, let me just wrap by saying this. Last year, the top 20 high school teams in the state of California, 13 of them participated in Men in the Trenches camps. Their kids were active in our camps. But that's not an indication, and the other ones probably would be there if they had known about it. So, you know, it's funny, one of the other coaches that were just looking at that, we're like, holy smokes, boom, 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 boom. And all their guys are in the trenches. That's where it all starts. So, anyhow, Jesse, thanks again. As I mentioned before, blessed to have met you, blessed that a part of your fantastic program. Appreciate all you do for all the kids in Orange County and Northern California. You've made up in Northern California as well. And just once again, do your thing. Tell people where to find us.
Yes, Mission Sports TV. We're on YouTube. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. Tune into this episode. Please comment. Make sure you follow Jesse's journey too on all his social medias. I mean, this is just a guy with unlimited wisdom of the game and outside football, and what you're doing for the community is just it's admirable, brother. So thank you for coming on. Appreciate you.
All right,
thank you. I love what you guys are doing. I love what you guys are doing, and keep it up, because that's another phase of us contributing to the youth and to the game. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Well, we'll recruit you out to talk to the kids once we get our camp rolling. And hey, everyone have a blessed day and be good teammates. See you next time.
See you guys.